ongehuurd zijn.
Aanmelden kan per direct. U kunt ook bellen op 06 848 52349. Mailen info@, romaweddingstyling.nl. Webadres romaweddingstyling.nl. Mis verkiezing.
Inschrijfgeld en administratiekosten bedragen €25 per persoon.
Are you ready to be the next Miss Indian Beauty? Roma Wedding Styling present Miss Indian Beauty Pageant 2024.
Vriendenloterij en Lingo wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Trendy Green Overkappingen, de vraagprijs van deze week.
Win nu een waardebon ter waarde van €250. Stuur snel je antwoord naar RadioSKsFM. Op vrijdag wordt de winnaar bekendgemaakt door een loting.
Lingo en Vriendenloterij wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Trendy Green Overkappingen.
En dan is het nu weer tijd voor een vol uur muziek en informatie op Radio SKS. Radio SKS. It's only your choice. It's Radio SKS.
Goedenavond luisteraars. Vanavond hebben we een heel goed programma. En dat is van Gita. Die gaat het vanavond helemaal in het Engels doen, haar programma. Dus ik zou zeggen, Gita, ik wens je een hele fijne avond vanavond. Helemaal in het Engels. Dus ik blijf gewoon netjes op mijn plaats zitten. Dus ik zal zo weinig mogelijk reageren. Dus ik wens jullie allemaal, ook de luisteraars. Ik hoop dat jullie het ook heel plezierig vinden. En dat jullie goed met je Engelse taal zijn. Dan kunnen jullie er fijn van genieten. Dus ik ga...
Ja, goedenavond luisteraars. Goedenavond. Ja, zoals Ria aangeeft, ik heb het volgens mij aan het begin ook gezegd, of niet, maar dan nog even uitdrukkelijk. Ik ga 2 keer in het Nederlands doen en 2 keer in het Engels. Ik heb het 2 keer in het Nederlands gedaan, dus we gaan nu even over de Engelse taal. Dus ja, ik hoop dat jullie het kunnen verstaan en ervan genieten. So, ladies and gentlemen, listeners, hearers. So today my name is Gita, and so I started with this program, Bhakti and Yoga Goes Live, which means to put it shortly, because I already did 2 lessons in Dutch, and I'm going to do per month 2 lessons in Dutch and 2 lessons in English. But I want to take you a little bit to the previous lectures I had, and very briefly. So the essence of what I'm speaking about is spiritual life. And it means that we have a material life, you know. It's a life full of it is very complex, it is very intense. We have so many obligations. We're constantly running from here to there, sometimes not even knowing why we're running for. We have meetings about nothing, so that's all going on. It's a material life, very hectic. So the point is, in my classes is a very heavy word, but what I try to do is to introduce you to spiritual life, which gives more balance in your daily life. If you can, and you know, it comes from India, this concept of spirituality. I don't have to tell the Hindu listeners. In the West, you know, the material thinkers, the ratio is very dominant, very dominant. It's like you have children in the class, and the first day they do, the young kids in the class, they start with, why? How come? They want to have everything explained, and not only the young kids, it's something from the Western countries. In the East, it's changing now due to circumstances, but still, in the East, spirituality has a high value. What spirituality means, we don't have to explain everything. We don't have to try even to explain everything. There is something, there's some energy around which controls us, a higher planner, a higher, controller, the supreme controller. So sometimes it's very good to think about things and try to solve everything, but it would be more peaceful in your mind if you can act in the sense like, okay, let go. Maybe God wants it like that. Maybe Mother Nature wants it like that. So let's go with the flow, and that's the essence of these classes or lectures or whatever you call them, is to have more balance in your life, material and spiritual. Peace in mind, peace in the heart. And let's see, I made some notes. So, talking about peace in the mind, you know, in the Western countries, or all the countries except they introduced yoga, and literally yoga means connection with a higher energy, connection with God. That's yoga. And what happened here is they introduced yoga in not in the ultimate form. I mean, yoga has some steps, you know. 1 till 7, mind you, if I'm wrong, but some steps are physical exercises and breathing exercises like inhale, exhale, and it's very good. The yoga studios are fantastic to give you some more peace in your mind. But the highest step is called Bhakti yoga. And Bhakti means love. Bhakti means devotion from the heart, from inner devotion. And we can exercise that by mantra meditation. So later you will hear a song which is typical, illustrating how mantra meditation works. So that's in essence what I've been speaking about previous times. Oh yes, and I talked about how can you make this connection, how can you do this Bhakti yoga, how can you combine it with material life. And I said it is about your activities, all your deeds in your life. If you try to connect them with God, then the same actions which are material, they become purified. So you dovetail everything you do. Don't stop with work and don't stop being a student. Don't stop being a householder. No way. We have to act. The soul is by nature active, but combine it with the supreme God, with the higher spiritual reality. And I spoke about this, the last thing I'm briefly doing. I spoke about the processes, how to come in that mood of combining the 9 processes. Hearing, what you're doing right now, just listening to these spiritual statements. That's very purifying. So, hearing, worshipping the Lord. That's what most of the Hindus do. Another one is hearing and remembering the Lord. And last time I illustrated this remembering, the importance of remember the Lord constantly in every situation, all the circumstances, whether it's bad or good, it doesn't matter. Remember the Lord always. And I spoke about this little boy, Prahlad, 5 years old, how he remembered the Lord even while his father was trying to kill him. Can you imagine? And still he was just thinking about the Lord. And he thought, okay, come on, he wants to kill me. I just surrender unto the Lord. And that is what saved him, by the Lord appearing in the form of a half man, half lion. Narsimha. Okay. Today, so that's a summary of what I did. And so today I'm going to read a part of the Krishna book. And it is a story about a very, very poor brahmana. I know what triggered me to choose for this story is I get a lot of questions also from students about, okay, but the Lord, He wants us to be poor. Do we have to give part of our salary to the Lord? Why is that for? And how much do we have to give? And can't we be rich? Is it not possible to be rich? Does it go hand in hand with being God conscious? All these kind of questions, and I'm going to answer them through this story. But before, it's not. The point is not that you have to give your salary to the Lord. What I meant to say is acting, whatever actions you do, acting like you work, you study, you are you're doing other things. It doesn't matter, but all the actions you do have to be done for the pleasure of the Lord, not your own pleasure. If you do it only for your own pleasure and because you want to have all the benefits yourself, that's greedy, no? That's sense gratification. That's you're just gratifying your own senses. And you know what it happens then? It produces karma. You know, karma, action, reaction, good, bad. And what does that mean? Because of this karma, you have to come back every time. Birth, death, reborn, maybe as a human body, but it can be also as an animal or a plant. That's what karma is. So, what I try to tell you about is how important it is to this consciousness, this material consciousness, to transform that in pure consciousness. If you transform this material consciousness, you know what material consciousness is? Being greedy, being hypocrite, arrogant, false ego, puffed up, arrogant. That's all material consciousness. But by nature, we're kids, all children of the Lord. By nature, we have godly consciousness. We are nice. We are helpful. We are kind to everybody. We are humble. Those are our natural qualities. And by balancing spirituality and material life, you can go back to these nice godly qualities. And these godly qualities which purifies your heart, and you come closer to the Lord, and then the connection is made. The connection is made, and when the connection is made, you don't have to bother about bird that. Okay, the story I'm going to speak about is Sudama, but I'm going to read from the Krishna book. And Sudama, before I start, look, this Krishna book, it's very exceptional, you know. It had been printed. The money collected for this book was was done by some disciples of the founder of the Krishna movement, Srila Prabhupada, and Shama Sundar, one of his disciples, was asked by Prabhupada, I want to print this Krishna book, but I don't have money for it. So please, can you ask George Harrison? And maybe some of you know who George Harrison is. He's part of the Beatles. I really want to see you, Lord, but it takes so long to see you. And my sweet Lord. Now, that's George Harrison, my sweet Lord. He sang this song, and with his CDs, he financed a lot in the Krishna movement. And the story is very short, but it is very, very ecstatic. So they already got some money from George Harrison. Now Prabhupada said, Shama Sundar, please, I want to print this book. And it is cost, I think it was like $1,600, but I don't know exactly. And said, please ask him to support us for printing this book. And Shama Sundar is not the type to ask money. He said, oh, okay, yes, I will do. Now they were eating and they're having dinner together, and the night was already there. They had to leave, and then Shama Sundar said, and now I have to ask him. I must, because he is up to leave. And he said, listen, George, yes, Prabhupada wants to print this Krishna book. Oh, that's nice, he said. Oh, but we need some money. So you would like to support 1,600, so it was an amount. And then George said, I don't know, because I already donated other things. And then, wow, a whole thunderbolt and storm and a thunderbolt and everything, the lights, everything started to shake. And the light went off. And then George got so that was Krishna himself acted, and he got so scared, and he said, "Okay, come to me tomorrow. We'll talk about it." And that's how this book had been printed by George Harrison. And in his preface, he's writing something. He's writing something very nice, but I'm not going to read it all. In his preface, he says, let's see. Where is it? Yes, the preface is here. Some things he mentioned, I wrote apart. Maybe that's easier to go back than to go back. Yes, okay, here. What he said is, if there is a God, I want to see him. George speaking, okay? If there's a God, I want to see him. It's pointless to believe in something without proof. And this movement and meditation are methods where you can actually obtain God perception of God. You can actually see God and hear him, play with him. It might sound crazy, but he's actually there, actually with you. Now, that's very nice, because God is with all of us. I'm speaking about God like it is a strange phenomenon, but we all have God in our heart. Everybody, Hindu or Muslim, it doesn't matter. We all have Atma in our heart. And that's what he's saying here. And the nice thing is, I request all of you to take advantage of this book, Krishna, and enter into its understanding. I also read, that's so nice, I also request that you make an appointment to meet your God now. So ring, ring, hello God, I want to meet you, I want to talk to you. And then no, it is through the process of yoga and meditation and give peace a chance. That is Judge Harrison. Now, the story about can we be wealthy when we come closer to God and we become God conscious, and in this case Krishna conscious. Can we become wealthy? And will Krishna supply us wealth? Because that's dangerous, because if you're wealthy, it's tricky. When you have money, or you have the other 6 opulences like beauty and all and more, then you become puffed up, arrogant because of the wealth. So, there were some people on the street, and they told me, they said, I see some Russian devotees, and they have castles, they have big houses, they're driving in a Mercedes Benz. How come? How can God tolerate that? And the answer lies in the story about Sudama Brahmana, and it is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, but it is also compiled in this Krishna book, Chapter 80, the meeting of Lord Krishna with Sudama Brahmana. And I'm going to read only some parts of it. The story. There was a very nice Brahmana, friend of Lord Krishna. As a perfect Brahmana, he was very elevated in transcendental knowledge. And because of his advanced knowledge, he was not at all attracted to material enjoyment. Therefore, he was peaceful and had achieved supreme control over his senses. The Brahma was a perfect devotee. Then I'm going here. Although the Brahma friend of Lord Krishna was a householder, householders, grihastas, they are meant to earn money. A householder is a couple, is somebody who married and has a wife and children or no children, but that's a householder. They have to earn money, to maintain the family. But this Brahmana, but he was a Brahmana, but he was a householder, he had a wife. So although the Brahmana friend of Lord Krishna was a householder, he was not busy accumulating wealth for very comfortably living. No. Therefore, he was satisfied by the income which automatically came to him according to his destiny. So it's very nice stated here that he was not paranoia to get a lot of money. He thought, what I deserve, the Lord will give me.
Nee, dat je dit een beetje naar je gezicht moet doen, je mond.
Yeah? Okay. Sorry. This is
de helft niet kapot.
Yeah, it was an interruption. Okay, sorry. So what we see here is this Brahmana. He wasn't worried about wealth and how much income will I have, and can I afford all the things and pay all the things. No, he said, what destiny provides me, that I will take to me. And then another thing is yes, here. According to his destiny, this is the sign of perfect knowledge. The amount of happiness and distress is already predestined for every living entity. No one can increase or decrease the happiness of the material way of life. Also, this one's very important. The happiness and the distress is already all dictated by the Lord. We are just doing what is written in the book. We can't influence it. So the Brahmana therefore did not exert himself for material happiness. Instead, he used his time for advancement in Krishna consciousness. Externally, he looked very poor because he had no rich clothes and could not provide rich clothes for his wife. And because their material condition was not very opulent, they were not even eating sufficiently, and thus both he and his wife appeared very thin. The wife was not anxious for personal comfort, but she felt concerned for her husband, who was just such a pious Brahmana. She trembled due to her weak health, and although she did not like to dictate to her husband, she spoke as follows. My dear Lord, I know that Lord Krishna, the husband of the goddess of fortune, is your personal friend. You're also a devotee of Lord Krishna. My dear Lord, she means my dear husband. You are also a devotee of Krishna, and he always is ready to help his devotee. Even if you think that you're not rendering any devotional service to the Lord, still you are a surrendered soul. I know that Krishna is the ideal personality of Vedic culture. He's always in favor of Brahmanical culture, and he's very kind to the qualified Brahmanas, like him. He was a Brahmana. And he said, go to Krishna and ask him for wealth. Ask him for a little bit money. We don't have anything to eat. They were thin, they were super thin. And so she said, go to him, and therefore, if you, I'm now doing it in my own words partly, Krishna will understand your position. He will certainly give you some abundant riches so that you can live very comfortably. Okay. He didn't want to do it. He said, no, I'm not going for the money. But his wife was so much insisting that he thought, okay. And now, further, we'll read. In this way, the wife of the Brahmana again and again requested in great humility and submission, go to the Lord and ask him for some money. The Brahmana thought that there was no need to ask any material benefit from Krishna, but he was induced. That means he was forced by his woman, by his wife. And he thought, and this is very important, if I go there, I shall be able to see the Lord personally. Wow, that was inspiring. It was not the money. That was not. So what you see here, the motivation in your life, what you're doing, the motive is so important. The wife's motive was to go to the Lord and ask him for some money because we are living so sober that we don't have anything to eat even. Motive was go and get money. But his motive was, oh my God, then I will see him personally. How much ecstatic. Okay. When he had decided to go to his wife, now it comes, he said, my dear wife, okay, you want me to go? But I have to give him something, I can't go without anything. But they had nothing. So she went to the neighbors and she asked the neighbors and she got some broken rice. Rice which we normally in the West, we give to chickens. There's also selection of rice. Some people eat only whole grains or basmati rice or pandan rice. But the broken rice is the bad quality rice. That's what she could get from the neighbors. And so she put it in a towel, she bound it, and she gave it to him. So he took it with him and he thought, oh, this is what I have to give Krishna, but they didn't have any better. And that's a good sign. When you go to the Lord or a sannyas or a very elevated soul, or even to the temple, you always carry something with you. Because the Lord is giving us everything. Don't we have a little thing, something for the Lord? So that's the Vedic culture. Okay, now, this Brahmana, so he went to find out Krishna's palace, and now I read a part. It was very difficult to reach the palaces of the kings of the Yadu dynasty, and Brahmanas are allowed to visit. When this Sudama, the Brahmana friend of Lord Krishna, went there, he had to pass through a military encampments. In each camp, there were very big gates. Now you have a whole description of the place. But now, furthermore, the Brahmana entered one palace. He saw 16,000 palaces, 16,000 queens, 16,000 Krishnas, because Krishna can expand him in so many, in 16,000. So when he entered the palace, then Krishna was sitting on his bedstead. Yeah, Krishna was sitting on the bedstead the queen Rukmini. And then now it's a break, so just hold on. He enters the palace, or he sees the palace, and Krishna sits on the bed seat with Rukmini, and he sees this Brahmana. Now, the following will be after the interval pause.
luisteraars, neem ik het eventjes over. Ik hoop dat jullie er ook goed naar geluisterd hebben. Het was toch wel behoorlijk heftig om het zo lang vol te houden. Ik noem jullie even het telefoonnummer van Gita op. En dat is 06 16 28 7239. Ik zal het even herhalen, het telefoonnummer. En dat is 06 16 28 7239. En dan heeft ze 1 keer per maand een samenzijn. En daar kunt u zich dus melden. En dat is in de Zonkertstraat nummer 3. En dat is 1 keer per maand. En dan moeten we even kijken welke datum dat precies in de laatste dag van de maand. Dus misschien...
Bhakti Center.
Bhakti Center, ja. Kan ik dat zeggen, Bhakti Center?
Ja, want het is een Bhakti Center.
Oké, en dat is dan in de Zonkertstraat nummer 3. Daar kunt u zich dan melden met het telefoonnummer. Dus, en zo direct gaat ze gewoon weer verder met het programma. Ik hoop dat jullie het goed kunnen volgen. Ik heb er wat meer moeite mee. Maar goed, dat maakt helemaal geen probleem. Volgende keer is het misschien weer eens een keer in het Nederlands. Dus ik zou zeggen, Gita, je kan gewoon weer lekker verder gaan.
Ja.
Ja?
Dankjewel,
Ja?
dankjewel Ria. Zo, ik was gebleven dus bij die Brahmana, die gaat dus op pad met de reis. Hè. Oh, sorry. Nederlands, Engels. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. You know, it's so natural. I'm sorry. Okay, start again. So, I'm going back to the point where I mentioned that this Brahmana, he went to Krishna's palace. And Krishna was sitting on the bedstead with Rukmini, his wife, one of his wives, Queen Rukmini. And he saw him. And said, wow, that's Sudama. Let's see. Where it was, I want to read a part. It is so nice, but I don't know if I have time to... Okay, I will explain it because it will take too much time. Okay, he thought, that's Sudama. What is he doing here? Of course, Krishna knew. And of course, Krishna knew he had to rise as well. The Lord knows everything. And so, to make it short, then Sudama entered the palace of Krishna. And what happened is, you know, we're talking about an extremely poor man who didn't have clothes. He was wearing dirty clothes, who was looking so skinny. And what happens is he came and the Lord embraced him. And he said, oh, my dear friend, Sudama, you're visiting me. I'm so happy to see you. He was so enthused that he bathed his feet. He said, come, I bathed his feet. He gives him a lot of... There was prasadam was offered, new clothes, etc., etc. And Rukmini was just waving with the chamara. So he got a very ontvangst. They received him very, very gently, very nice. But this Brahmana was really shocked. He thought, by God, he is the Lord. Why is he embracing me? Why is he acting in this way? So then they started to talk about the past. You know, they were telling you stories about when they were at school. They got lost, both of them. They were together at the same school. They had a teacher, Sandupanumani, and Sandupanumani was the teacher, and they were on the Gurukul, and then they got lost. And what they were doing actually is the wife of the teacher asked him to find some, I don't know what the word is, fuel, what is hout? No, fuel, okay. Some, if you understand, just to heat the room, they need some wood. Okay, let me call it wood. And the boys, they were searching in the forest, and it was getting darker and darker and darker, and at a certain way they got lost. So when the teacher discovered that they didn't return, he sent out all the boys to find him, and then in that way, they found him somewhere, and then this teacher was very struck by the fact that these boys, they risked their own life just to get the stuff for his wife, risking their own lives. And he gave them a benefit, and the benefit was, okay, both of you will always remember Krishna. Actually, this is Krishna, and actually it is strange to see Krishna as a boy and doing all these things, but what the scriptures are doing, what Krishna book is doing, and what the Bhagavad Gita is doing is Krishna is putting himself in the role of a student. Right now he is a little boy, he get lost. How can the Lord get lost? But all these things happen because they want to learn on us something. There are lessons to learn from us. That's why he takes the role of a student right now. Okay, now these were a sort of stories they were talking about, and then at a certain moment it got late and he stayed over, the Brahma stayed over, he slept there one night. The next day he wanted to leave, and then Krishna said, hey, wait a minute, you want to leave? Didn't you bring something for me? And he was so ashamed, he was so ashamed for the broken rice. He was hiding it on his back. He said, no, I didn't bring anything. And Krishna said, yes, you have something with you. And then he just grabbed it and he started to eat the rice. And he said, I never ate such tasty rice. So this is the story about Sudama, but the essence is, now it comes, okay, he ate the rice, but he didn't ask for money, he didn't ask for wealth, because that was not his motive. His wife wanted him to do it, but he didn't do it. And he just left. And while he left, he was thinking about he was just remembering Krishna, and he said, my God, I'm so poor, I couldn't offer him something, and he just embraced me, and he just received me like a queen. He was massaging my feet, he was bathing my feet. How is it possible that the Lord? So he was thinking about all these things. So he went back to his home. He came in the street, but he didn't find his house. He was walking, and at the same place, same location, he saw a palace. Now, wow, but I live here. This is not my place. Again, this is a palace. This is not my hut. And he was doubting whether this was the right address. But then he saw his wife as a queen with jewels, beautiful, and the whole palace was filled with decorated with jewels. And he thought, how is it possible? I didn't ask Krishna for wealth, but he gave me so much opulence. So now we come to the point. Now the point I make, and the question was, how come Krishna is giving wealth to people, so much opulence to people? Sometimes, because you can become very puffed up, arrogant. Look at me, competition. But here in this case, this Brahmana, he got wealth because he was so self-realized, was a self-realized soul, and Krishna knew this man can handle it. He can handle this wealth, and he will use it in my service. And that's the essence. He will use it in my service, not for his own sense gratification, but in devotional service. And that's why we see around us some people who are God conscious, and still they live in palaces and in big buildings, because the Lord knows these people are so detached from material things that they don't aim it, they don't want it. If they get it, they use it in Krishna service. The founder of this movement, Prabhupada, was sometimes driving in, I think it was a Benz or Mercedes-Benz or BMW, I don't know exactly, but one of the expensive cars. And some of the people, I think even the news, in the news it was like, how is this man who is preaching love of God, how is he driving why is he riding in such a car? He was not driving, but somebody was driving him. And he said, yes, you can use everything for God. And that's what is happening with wealth. So here, this poor man became so extremely rich, and maybe I can read how many minutes do I have, Ria? Or 3. Then I stop with reading. I want to come to the essence now of this story because it's really amazing. The lessons we have to learn from this story is that Krishna, the Lord, you may call him however you want. For some people it's Shiva, for some it's Durga, but okay, in my case it's Krishna. The Lord accepts everything you give him, everything. You will never, but there's one but. Even it's a leaf, even it's just a little bit water or a flower, he will take it if you offer it with love and devotion. This broken rice was not even eatable, but he ate it like nothing else. Okay, so it doesn't have to be something big. It is the way you offer it. It's the mood you give it with. You give it with love, you will take it. Even a broken vase or bananas. One Brahmana gave him bananas, and he was so nervous that he threw the banana and he gave him the leaves and he ate it. Okay, and now Krishna knows, the Lord knows us very well. Don't think you can hide something for here. And another thing is, he knew that this Brahmana never ever had any material desire. Never ever. And he was to do this because he was obliged to his wife. And another is, Krishna has a lot of love. The most important persons in Krishna's life, living entities, are the Brahmanas and the cows. So this is a Brahmana who got so much attention for Krishna because of his being Brahmana, because they are detached. Their whole life is just pleasing the Lord. Another last statement is, we will not get wealth from the Lord, forget it, if we're puffed up. We will not get it. If you want more and more and you can't deal with it, you use it for yourself, the Lord will not give it to you, not because he hates you, but because he wants to protect you to fall down. You will fall down. You get it, and one day you fall down like this. He loves us so much that because of protection, you will not get it. And then the wife, remain humble. Let's see. Yeah, and the prayers we have to do for the Lord, because when this Brahmana went home, he did some prayers. Oh Lord, please let me always serve you. Let me serve your devotees. Oh, let me always remember you. Those kind of prayers. And the last thing is, yes, Lord doesn't give opulence to avoid you to fall down. And this fall down is, as I said, not because you hate it. It is called his mercy. His mercy, it is because of his mercy that you don't get this money. Can you imagine? He doesn't, because he loves you so much, he doesn't want to see you fall down. So this is the story of the Brahmana, and I hope that you can understand the meaning of getting wealth or not from a Vedic perspective. And thank you so much for listening. And I hope next time you'll be again on the radio. It's also on YouTube. Next time it's again in English, and then I continue twice with Dutch. We're after English, twice Dutch. Thank you so much for your attention, and I can't see you, but hope you will join again next Thursday.
Ja, de Gita is klaar voor vanavond. Die hebt het gedaan. Ik hoop dat er veel zijn die het goed kunnen volgen.
Ja, ik ga het sturen naar mijn Indiase groepen nu.
Ja?
Ik heb heel veel Indiase groepen van jongeren.
Oké. Nou, het is in ieder geval tijd, want dan kan ons programma zo direct gewoon weer verder aanwezig zijn. Ja. En dan hopen we je gewoon volgende week weer te zien, uiteraard. Ja. En dan is het weer Engels. Volgende week is het weer Engels, luisteraars. Dan weten jullie dat ook. Ja. Nou, en we hadden het adres van Gita. Ja. En dat is namelijk, eens even kijken, want ik kan het niet uit mijn hoofd. Ik zal het telefoonnummer toch nog even een keer noemen. 06 16 28 7239. En dan is de straat waar ze woont hier in Almere, pas, maar heel leuk, Zonkertstraat nummer 3 in Almere. Dus telefoonnummer is er, straatnaam hebben jullie. Dus jullie moeten het kunnen vinden. En het is 1 keer in de maand.
Ja, het telefoonnummer is met name voor als jullie vragen hebben, hè, jongens. Dat je dat, the phone number is if you have questions, you can ask me questions regarding the things I'm saying to explain.
Maar ook als ze naar je toe willen, is het ook beter, hè? Bellen.
Exactly.
Ja.
Don't come without, you have to check it out first on your WhatsApp, on Facebook. I will post it first. The exact dates, et cetera.
Zo, hij moet over. Je kan verder, Sunil.
Altijd thuis in de regio. Het station dat je verrast. Voor jou.
Radio SKS is een dienstverlenend radiostation voor de samenleving in Nederland en ver daarbuiten. Radio SKS richt zich voornamelijk op etnische minderheden.